Everything I needed to know about complaining, I learned from the movies. Or what the movie Saving Private Ryan and the book of Habakkuk in your Bible have in common. Welcome to another installment in the Over My Shoulder Bible Study series. These brief videos supplement the sermon that I preach each Sunday here with the Missouri Street Church of Christ in Baytown, Texas. We're halfway through a church-wide reading project that lasts for 3 years. That project is known as Immerse. And recently, we were in the book of Habakkuk as we focus on the Old Testament prophets. Habakkuk has much in common with other Old Testament prophets, namely that he's not short on complaining to God. That's right. In verses 2 through 4 of chapter 1 of Habakkuk, Habakkuk takes his gripes up to God and says, "What's the deal with letting your people sin so much and not disciplining them? When are you going to set them straight? I know you're not for all this sin going on forever." God answers him, but the answer sure isn't what he expected would come. Namely that, well, I'm raising up the Babylonians and I'm going to send them in to take Judah to the cleaners. Well, Habakkuk is not pleased with this either, and he takes his complaint up to God again. And the gist of his complaint is, how is it that you can use people more wicked than the ones you are disciplining to discipline them? What's up with that? God's answer is seen in basically chapter 2, verse 2 through the rest of the chapter. And that chapter is composed largely of what's known as woe oracles, 5 strong statements of woe of what's going to happen to Babylon for the way they go about disciplining God's people. Yes, the wicked will not escape, no matter who they are or how God uses them. They will pay for their sins. Gulp. You say, that's well and good and fine, David, but what does that have to do with the movie Saving Private Ryan? Well, whether Saving Private Ryan is one of your favorite movies or not, as it is one of mine, you surely remember that most memorable of scenes when Ryan is taught how to complain correctly, to take your gripes up and never down or around. The consensus of the squad after the captain sets Ryan straight is that he's good. I love him. To know how to complain and to complain well is crucial in life. Unhealthy griping does no one any good, especially the griper. But when we do have a complaint about life, we do well to do as Habakkuk did, and that is to take it up to God and not out and around and down. In that respect, we noted that Habakkuk has a great deal to do with other prophets, not the least of which is one of his contemporaries, Jeremiah. Jeremiah is commonly known as the weeping prophet. He's something of a sad sack in the eyes of some, but really he's just extremely transparent about what he sees going on around him and what's going on within him. And it's what's going on within him that Jeremiah most frequently complains about to God. We'll give you just 5 examples rather quickly. Chapter 11, verse 18, all the way through virtually all of chapter 12, is a complaint by Jeremiah and God's answer that centers around a very personal matter that becomes a spiritual matter. The essence of it is that Jeremiah's family and friends that he loves so much have conspired against him. They even want to try to kill him. That's exactly what it said. They want to make his name not to be remembered anymore. To say this is distressing to Jeremiah is quite an understatement. But this brings about a spiritual question, and the question is, why is it, Lord, that the way of the wicked prosper? Why do all the faithless, like those of his family and friends, why do they live at ease while they're trying to make things very difficult for him? This is a question that always is with us, is it not? It will be till the end of time. Why do the wicked prosper and the faithless live at ease? Well, God's answer, in effect, is, trust me and serve me, Jeremiah. It seems as if God couldn't possibly explain it in a way that you and I could fully understand it. And so the proper response is, trust him anyway, which is really the bottom line of the book of Habakkuk. But back to Jeremiah and his complaining. Another complaint that he takes up to God is in chapter 15, verse 15 through 21. And there Jeremiah is basically saying, look, my being one of your servants, the prophets, one of your ministers, is that it's cost me a lot of friends. I don't have the kind of fellowship, the company that others have, and so I feel like I'm just all alone and hanging out here. God, that just isn't right. It is right for Jeremiah to take that kind of complaint up to the Lord. It's healthy for us, yes, as ministers especially, to take those things that trouble us deeply up to the Lord and talk frankly with Him about it. I'll leave you to discover what the Lord's answer is to Jeremiah about that matter. In chapter 17, verse 14 through 18, you find a third complaint that Jeremiah has that he brings up to the Lord. It basically is that, look, God, you've told me to tell the people some things that's going to happen, to prophesy, and they haven't yet happened. And so as a result, I'm getting mocked and ridiculed for it. When are you going to act and bring what you say to pass? Or in the words of verse 15 and 16, they keep saying, where is the word of the Lord? Let it now be fulfilled. I've not run away from being your shepherd. You know I've not desired the day of despair. What passes my lips is open before you. I'm faithful to what you've called me to do as a mission, but you don't seem to be following through with it, God. I don't understand your timeline. That's Jeremiah's complaint. Chapter 18, verse 19 through 23 is a fourth complaint that we'll look at from Jeremiah to the Lord. Remember, he takes his complaints up to God. And here, in essence, Jeremiah says, look, the people that have been persecuting me, I've been praying for them. I've been praying that you would spare them and turn them from their ways. But they haven't changed. They're still persecuting them. So, Lord, nuke them. Wow. Again, I'll let you discover how the Lord responds to that. A fifth and final complaint that we'll note that Jeremiah offers is in chapter 20, in verse 7 through 18. And this may be the most painful of all the complaints. Jeremiah, in essence, says, look, I didn't ask for this job, and quite frankly, it's hell right now for me. Why did you put me on this mission? I'm here to try to do it, but it sure isn't easy. Or in the words of Jeremiah, I'm sorry I was born. I was cursed to be born. Again, I'll leave you to discover how God handles that complaint. But what we discover is what we've known all along. Life is not easy, and life for the Lord is doubly not easy. But the proper way to handle all of that tension and trouble is take it to God. Take your complaints and your gripes right up to God. Don't try to hold them in within yourself. His shoulders are broad enough, and He is strong enough to handle it all. He's the only one strong enough to see you through it all. Grace and peace be with us all, especially in our complaints and gripes. Let's take them up and not out and around or down.